Okay, today I'm just working on getting the heater core out. I'm gonna get this stuff off to the radiator shop. So Fords are pretty easy. You take this plate off, and then these are usually a foam thing in here that on the top and bottom. So sometimes it's a little bit of, take something stick in there just to kind of carefully move the foam off the core, and then the core should slide out. And I'll check the resistor and make sure that's okay and the blower motor works. The blower motor is way back in there. I think you got to take the fender off to get at it. So there's a few spots on it. Looks like it could be leaking. Fords are the easiest to do heater cores on, I think, of all cars. There's all the foam and the plate, and that's where the heater core goes, and I'll clean that all out. And I don't know if the resistor shows up in there or not, but this looks like a little spring, coil spring. Alright, let me get this off to the radiator shop. This is the radiator shop I use, so if you have a old car radiator, he's got a 27 Buick radiator in there. He can repair just about anything. So if you need vintage car radiator done, definitely the place to do it. Alright, I got it cleaned up somewhat. I cleaned the parting surface off of the old gasket, just gave it a quickie scrape down, and cleaned the carbon from the edge here so the pistons don't get caught on the carbon. There's no ring ridge in any cylinder at all. In fact, I can still see machining in most all the cylinders. The pistons, I just kind of cleaned the guck off of them. It cleaned off pretty easily. Just ran a vacuum through the lifter valley. So next will be dropping the sump. The timing chain, I can feel it through that hole right there, and it feels sloppy, so I think it has more than, they say specs is 3 degrees typically, so when you check timing chains, you can do it with your engine assembled. You take your distributor cap off, turn your motor until your timing marks line up. With your cap off, look at your rotor and turn the engine the other way till the rotor moves, and that's, if your crank moves more than 3 degrees before the rotor moves, you need a new timing chain. I forgot, before I take the heads in, I got to get the gasket set, so I have the valve seals to give the guys there. Otherwise they charge you out the hiney for valve seals, and then you get a gasket set and it comes with the valve seals, and so you might as well just get the set and give them the seals with the set to when they do the valves. Gave the lifter valley a little cleaning. That sludge in some of these spots was bothering me, so I just wanted to clean it out. You can see some numbers here. I'm hoping that those aren't oversized for the bores. I know Ford, if they bored their engine and they're a little over, they wrote on the block, usually on the external part of the block, like here, the sizes over they were. But I don't think that's the case with this. Hopefully not. We'll find out when we measure it up. This is the next day, so hopefully I'm not repeating myself too much, but I made a couple blocks to put the lifters in, just on the chance that I do reuse the camshaft. I doubt I will. I'll probably put a new one in, new cam and new lifters. You can see, as you see, I cleaned it up a bit internally here, and I want to show you some other things I've been putzing. So as typical with all project cars, it always involves a trip to the locksmith. So I got two. This is the original key, and I had another key cut for the, this I think fits the trunk and the glove box, so I got an extra key. It fits both ways. This is the original key that came with the car. These are the keys, brand new keys that came with the lock cylinder, and the code is FA0302. So if somebody has a 66 Ford and has that key and they'd like these keys, I'd be more than happy to give them to somebody that can use them, but please have one that has that number and I'll send them to you. The other ignition switch that, you know, the guy had cut the ignition switch out, so I got a brand new one. This is a Ford part, and I'm going to change it in the car. Here, I'll show you. So it's got this, I don't know, it has a regular square key in the slot. The key is not as thick as the original key. The original key is significantly larger and thicker than the replacement key, and I doubt it shows up in the video, but it wouldn't fit in that lock cylinder. So I got a brand new correct lock cylinder. Part number looks like it's C5AZ-1182-B, and I took it to my locksmith and had it rekeyed. The lock cylinder tumblers changed, so the original key to the car that works the doors works ignition. So I'm going to change that lock cylinder out. You do it by, you put the key, this isn't bolted in, I'm going to take it out to do it, but you put the key in accessory, and then you put a little paper clip in there, so a little hole. Let me see if I can show you on this switch here. See that little hole above the slit there? You put a paper clip in there when it's an accessory, and then you can turn it back. The accessory's like that maybe. Then you can turn it back a little more and pull it out of the switch. And then you have to have the correct key to do this. The key has to be in ignition, the correct one. And then you can change the lock cylinder. I think every single project car I've done has either lacked keys or things like this, you know, or it's always a trip to the locksmith. I mean, after 50 some years in cars that sit 30, 40, 50 years, yeah, often there's no keys, or there's a set of keys and lock cylinders, you know, are messed up or whatever. So it's, like I say, pretty typical. So that's done. So now I'm gonna start taking the engine apart, and it is Mahwah, New Jersey. So thank you for everyone that posted comments. I used to live in Hamilton, New Jersey, which is South Jersey, and Mahwah's in North Jersey, up near Newark. That's where this car was manufactured. Alright, let me get to the engine. So I'm going to have to remove the lifters without videoing, because I can't just pull these things out, and well, maybe I can. I don't know. Sometimes you gotta, whoops, wiggle them a little bit and just work them, and they come out there. So that's how the lifters come out. Now, always I put right on this. The right of everything on a car is always as if you're sitting in the driver's seat. So this is the rear of the engine. That's the right side of the engine. Even though you might be standing here working on it on the front, that's still the right side of the engine. So I always label everything correct as if you're sitting in the car. So again, I'm going to keep all the lifters in order, and in case, on the slim chance, I reuse the cam. You never put new lifters on an old cam, and you never put old lifters on a new cam. It'll just wipe things out. If you replace your lifters, you replace your camshaft. It's just kind of crazy to put new lifters on an old cam, because you'll be tearing the engine down and replacing it all again, along with having metal in your oil from wiping out cam lobes and stuff. So always replace them as a set, your lifters and camshaft together. Never replace just the lifters or just the camshaft. So I'll put a photo in at the end of this video that Denny sent me. He sent me a photo of the Catalina at Greaserama in Kansas City, Missouri. So again, that will be at the very end of the video. There we go, all 16 lifters are out. I was able to pull everyone out with my fingers, so no gum in there or anything. This thing is, the engine is really in nice shape. Alright, let me get the thing flipped over, and we'll get the pan off and start getting the rest of the engine apart. So I tip it most of the way, you know, like 90% of the way, to the down to get the coolant out of the jacket so I don't have a mess on the floor, and I'll turn it the other way to get the water out of this side of the jacket, and then I'll flip it completely over to get the pan off. Well, let's see if I can do this with one hand. I broke the gasket free on most of it and cleaned up my hands so I could handle my camera. And there we go. There's the inside of the drain plug that this thing, let's see if that part that's welded in is stripped, so I'll put a new one of those in. Bit of sludge in the bottom of the sump, you know, that's settled over the past 43 years, but not all that bad. The inside of the engine looks pretty darn good. See the timing chain right there. I'm going to wait to pull this and this cover until I get all the pistons out so I can turn the crankshaft, but I see they are stamped, so I won't have to number them. Yeah, good thing I'm taking it apart. The rings, this ring is stuck in half the groove. The oil control ring is stiff, but it's free, but the top ring is completely seized in the piston, so they'll have to be cleaned up to get them out. And the rod's free on the wrist pin, but when it's where it rides, it's kind of over a little bit, so they need to be cleaned up too. But that's nice and smooth and floppy, so that all needs cleaning up big time. So if I'm going to reuse the pistons, I'll measure them. But somewhere around here I have a ring groove cleaner, so I get the rings off, I can clean the grooves, and definitely going to need rings, at least minimal, and the bearings. And I'm going to measure the crankshaft, which actually looks pretty good, but I'm going to measure it anyway. And looks like they're standard bearings. Usually it says if they're a different size. It says C5AE-6211K, and then it says CLEV, and then a big space L and Ford Motor Company, and then T-500, and then a little tiny 3, and then a space, and then 66. So I'll get some, after I get the crank measured up, if it's still good for standard, I'll get bearings ordered. I'm not going to video taking all the pistons out. It's a little messy, and I have to clean my hands up after each one, so I'm just going to take all 8 out, and then we'll do a video on that. So hopefully I have enough battery here. It's about 90 degrees out and just now starting to storm, so I don't want to get soaked going in the house to get a battery, but I just don't know if that shows up or not. Those cylinders are still, you can still see the machining in them from the factory. They're in really nice shape. I pulled the thrust bearing cap off, and it's really not too bad. But I'm not going to pull a crank out until I have the stuff to measure it up, because I don't want to take a chance on damaging it. So I just pulled the one cap. Tomorrow or the next day I'll pull that and the timing cover and timing chain. Timing chain is pretty sloppy. So on the pistons, yeah, I'm going to have to clean them up really good. So the rear pistons, the compression, this is cylinder number 8, and the compression rings are completely seized. None of the oil rings are seized, just the compression rings. This, as you go forward on the engine, the rings are free. This one is just stuck and apart. That one's stuck. That one's stuck. So I'll have to clean the pistons all up and clean the grooves, get new rings, new bearings. If the crank doesn't need remachining, you can see all the bearings are pretty worn looking. and they're pretty consistent. So I think we'll just call it quits for the day, and another day. Like, I got other things I got to get done today, so this is just what I could get done today, and that was it. But it turns super easy with no pistons in there. But I'm just going to leave the oil on the crank, keep it from getting any surface rust on it. I just wish that, I hope that machining shows up in the video. I mean, it's as clear as day looking at it the way I am, but in the camera it may not show up. It shows up better from this with the bores angled like that than upright, but I noticed it when I was wiping out the cylinders before I started taking the pistons out yesterday when I cleaned the block up. You can see this freeze plug. It's leaking a little bit right now from whatever was in there when it was tipped. You know, I had it tipped on its side to drain the jacket. A little bit of coolant leaked out of that rusted out freeze plug. And this is the one that was really bad, that really rusted out freeze plug. The one that had the trail of Gluck down it. That looks like a C6ME-A. And the pistons, you know, the wrist pins look pretty dry in there too, so I'll clean all that up, and some crud on the piston, a little bit of corrosion there. Clean it all up, but I think the pistons will be fine, and we'll give them a good going over. If they need replacing, do whatever is needed to be done. Alright, so my battery's about dead, so again, you know, if you want to see this thing be resurrected, subscribe to my channel. If you like my video, hit the like button, and thank you for watching, and enjoy the picture of Denny's car here at the end that I told you about earlier. Again, thank you for watching.